Hi, my name is Emily and this is Luna, and I am building this bus into my dream home on wheels. In this video, I'm going to take you through how I install my Renogy electrical system from Caravan RV Camping and how it is going to make my bus the most epic off-grid home. After living on the road in my van, I had a full Renogy electrical system that helped me stay off-grid, but with the bus, I'm going bigger and better, and that means bigger and better with my electrical system too. I'm very excited that I'm going to have 600 amp hours of lithium power, 800 watts of solar, a DC to DC and MMPT charger, as well as a secondary MMPT charger. So I will be able to survive off-grid and run really large appliances. I will take you through installing each of the components of my electrical system. It is honestly something that I'm very nervous to do by myself. So if I can do it, I'm sure you can do it too. So yes, we will be figuring this out together. I'm pretty confident that I know exactly how everything goes. But until I actually switch that power on at the end of the install, I am honestly going to be quite nervous. So yeah, let's see how we go. Wish me luck. The first part of my electrical install was putting up my solar panels. I did this a few months ago, so let's jump back in time. Today I'm installing my solar panels. I'm putting 800 watts of solar on the roof of my bus with 4 200 watt monocrystalline solar panels. Originally I was planning on installing them onto roof racks, but I've decided I'm going to do it the exact same way as I did on my van, which is bolting the solar panels on, using solar panel brackets onto the roof. It is a bit of a hot day today though, and the roof is quite toasty. So let's see how we go. The plan is to install 3 of them today, and then the 4th one, which is going to go to the front of the roof after I've put my aircon up in a few weeks' time. So let's do it. I'm installing my solar panels by using these brackets which bolt onto the sides of the solar panels like this. I will bolt them in from the bottom, tighten them up from the top, and then they will get screwed in and bolted to the ceiling of the bus. So I'll go through, bolt all 4 solar panels up with the brackets, and then take them onto the roof and go from there. We have put the solar panel up on the roof. I pre-drilled the holes with a small 2.5mm drill bit first, and then went through with a 6.5mm drill bit to make sure that I had the correct size holes for our bolts. I have also put butyl tape on the roof to make sure that it has a nice watertight seal, and we'll also be sealing that with Sikaflex afterwards. So now we are up to installing and bolting in the solar panels. So these will simply just go through the holes into the bottom of the bus, and then my friend is going to help me to tighten them up from underneath. So we have bolted them all in, Sikaflexed all of the bolts, and the first panel is in. Now I just need to do it 3 more times, but we won't be getting that done today. It has taken us all afternoon to get this one on. Solar panels have now all been installed. The 3 at the back are bolted in exactly the way that I just showed you, and the one at the front I needed to put on roof racks. So that was even easier to install. You just use the brackets for the solar panel and then bolt them directly into the roof rack channels. Connecting the solar is also super easy. The cables basically clip together, and because I'm running 2 circuits of solar, I've connected 2 panels together and then the other 2 panels together separately. They run through solar panel glands into the bus through the roof. So now that you have seen me install my solar, it is time to run you through what is going to be powering my whole system. So I have got the Rover Light 40 amp MPPT charger. This is going to be running 400 watts of my solar. Having a separate charger from my DC-DC MPPT charger allows for 2 solar circuits, which is perfect for variable light conditions. These are made specifically for lithium batteries, which I have gone for, and I will run you through my battery setup in a moment. The great thing about this is you can connect a Bluetooth module, which will go through to your ONE Core so that you can monitor the performance of your solar. Next up, I have my DC-DC with built-in MPPT charging. So this is for my second lot of solar circuitry. So I'm running 400 watts off of the 40 amp MPPT charger, and then the other 400 off of the DC-DC and MPPT charger. It can charge via your alternator and your solar simultaneously, which maximizes charging while you're driving as well as solar during the day. It prioritizes your solar first and then brings on your alternator in low light conditions, which is super cool that these can be such smart pieces of equipment. This IP67 model can even be mounted under the bonnet, but I'm going to be mounting this with the rest of my electrical system in the back underneath the bed. We can also keep track of this on the ONE Core. And then we're on to this big boy. So this is the 3000 watt Renogy REGO Inverter Charger. This is the updated version. If you have seen the previous model, it is so much bigger, bulkier and heavy than this. So having the new model is great because it is so much smaller and lighter, which is great when you're trying to save space and weight while building a vehicle. It does run all of my 240 volt appliances, so things like my induction cooktop that I have here, my aircon that I have up here, and anything else that is run via household switches. You do need to make sure that this is installed by an electrician, as all 240 volt stuff needs to be done by a qualified electrician. So yeah, you can do your 12 volt stuff yourself, but I will not be doing any installation when it comes to this. I also have a plug on the side of the bus so that I can plug into shore power if I'm at a caravan park or visiting friends to recharge and I'm low on battery because it's been overcast and I haven't been doing a lot of driving. It has adjustable charge output of 5 amps right up to 150 amps, which is great for super fast recharging. So these guys are my solar as well as alternator charging while driving. This is for all of my 240 volt power, as well as I can charge up my batteries by plugging into a normal household socket. I've also mentioned the ONE Core. So this displays all of the information from all of my systems, so I can keep track on how much battery percentage I have, how each of these are performing wattage wise, what's coming in, what's going out. And it also has an inbuilt leveler, which is super handy. So yeah, now that I have ran you through each of these, thank you for listening to me talking for a little while. Let's get to actually installing some of this. So my electrician ended up coming out for the last few hours, and he has gone through the bus and put in the power points as well as wired up my stove and my air conditioner. So that's all ready to go. He's coming back tomorrow to do the inverter charger. So in the meantime, I have ran a couple of wires underneath the bus for the alternator and started doing a little bit of the wiring up for the alternator. These are my starter batteries, and these are the 2 cables that I have run underneath the bus that will connect up to the DC-DC charger. So this will eventually go onto the positive, that will go onto the negative of these batteries, and then they, don't mind my mess, come out down here in my battery box just there. So they come through the floor and then they come through a hole that I have drilled here. So I will also have to seal around these holes here because the battery box does need to be fully sealed. So that's fine, I'll put some sealant around that. So then you come over here to where I've got my alternator charger. It looks like a bit of a mess at the moment, but let me run you through it. Okay, so over in this back corner is where my DC-DC charger is going to live. On the DC-DC charger, you have a few different cables. This is a temperature sensor if you have different batteries, but because I have lithium batteries, I don't need to use this. This is for your earth. It will be connected through the negative cables on your bus bar. This is the positive cable that goes to my starter batteries. So I have connected those up and wired them together. This is for the solar, so that is going to go up into my solar panels, which will go off of this fuse here. So I have ran my cable that comes from my solar panels on my roof, through the roof down into here. So that is onto a 60 amp fuse. And then this one will go on the other side there. And then this is the output cable. So that is going to go from the DC-DC charger back to the bus bar, and then that's what's going to charge up the batteries down here. This one will also be ran up into a 60 amp fuse here, connected on this side. The thing that you do need to keep in mind as well is running the cables from your DC-DC MPPT charger to your bus bars, the cables that are going out of the system into your batteries need to be the same length. So make sure you measure those correctly and then run those through. So I have got the negative here, which is ran through just this little post here, and then that's going to connect up to all of my negative cables that haven't been connected just yet. Well, after connecting up this fuse, there are lights on here, so I guess that is promising news. All right, now that I know that the battery charger is in the right position, I can screw it into place. Alright, now that I have connected all of the wires on the DC-DC charger, I'm going to go ahead and connect these wires to my starter battery. So the first thing I need to do is disconnect the batteries, so take the negative off, and then we can put the positive wire on and then the negative wire on and reconnect the batteries, and it should be good to go. So I'm figuring all of this out literally as I go. Doing your electrical by yourself is obviously doable. As I said at the start of this video, if I can do it, you can do it too. But my goodness, it is a whole other thing when you're trying to wrap your head around every single part of the system. The last thing that I need to do with my DC-DC MPPT charger is connect it through to the house batteries, but that is going to happen right at the end after I have also done just my solar charge converter. Having some lights come up on the DC-DC MPPT charger, I am super excited because according to this, I think I did it right. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, everything that is saying on here is correct. But yeah, seems like I've managed to install the first part of the system. So that's very exciting. Now on to the just solar charge converter. So let's see, I don't have much daylight left. So fingers crossed I can get that in today. All right, so as I showed you guys at the start of the video, this is the 40 amp solar charge converter. Saying MPPT so many times in this video, it is so difficult. But yes, this is an MPPT charger. I'm going to be running 400 watts of my solar off of this, 400 watts of my solar off of that. So this one should be a lot more straightforward to wire up because it is just running the solar, not the DC-DC. So it is also going to live right here. So let's secure this down and then I will run all of my wires to the MPPT charger. We'll get that connected up. Okay, so coming through the wall, I have my two solar cables for my second lot of solar. I have the positive and the negative. The positive again is going to be ran through a 60 amp fuse, and then the negative is just going to go straight into the MPPT charger. So the easy thing about wiring up these ones is you just need bare wire, you don't need lugs. It makes it nice and simple. So we will get this fuse connected, then we'll strip these wires, plug them in, and then run the battery wires. So these are super easy to install now that I have my bare wires that are going to go to the battery and bare wires coming from my solar panels. So all you do is lift up this little flap here, grab yourself a screwdriver, unscrew the screws. Okay, so then yeah, you essentially just push your bare wire into the hole. Unfortunately, I've run out of daylight and I do not have any nighttime lights out here. Tomorrow morning I'll be up early and I'm going to connect up my batteries, and then the system should be complete. So yeah, I'm super stoked with how much I ended up getting done today. Good morning. I'm feeling so much more refreshed today. Excited to get this electrical system fully finished off. So yesterday we installed the inputs into both my DC-DC MPPT charger as well as my Solo MPPT charger. So they're all coming in, everything's reading that solar is coming through the bus. So that's super exciting. Today I need to connect up my lithium batteries. So that's what we're gonna do. And then my electrician's coming back later this afternoon to power up the inverter, and we should be able to switch everything on, which is a huge milestone. So let's get to work on these battery cables, and then yeah, well, hopefully by the end of today, I have a fully powered up bus. For connecting up my 2 lithium batteries, I need to have identical length of 95mm squared cable. So these are going to be my inverter cables. They're going to run from my inverter through to the bus bar, which will connect through to the batteries. These 2 are connecting my batteries together, so positive to positive, negative to negative, so that will link the 2 of them up. And then these 2 are going from the batteries, so one will go to the negative on one battery, one will go to the positive on the other battery. They will run through negative through a shunt, positive through a 400 amp fuse, through to the bus bars, and that's how everything is going to get its power. So what I need to do now that these are all measured to the correct lengths, these ones are ready to be connected up, but that will happen a bit later. These ones I need to cut in for where I'm going to connect through my shunt as well as my fuses, and then add some extra terminals onto those. And then the same with these 2, I need to finish adding the lugs on the end of these, as well as add in the 400 amp fuse onto the positive wire. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then we should be pretty good to be able to join the whole system up together. So I'm first working with my negative wire here. I have it through these glands, and then the negative wire will connect up to the negative battery here. And then I have my shunt. So the negative wire goes through the shunt, out the other side and into the bus bar, which then communicates with the rest of my system. So I just need to make sure before I cut this wire that it's going to be the correct distance. So as you can see, that will go through the shunt down to the negative bus bar, and that will fit my wire there. So we'll mark it. We'll have a terminal added to it there, that will go there. This one will have 2 terminals added to it, and that will go there to there. Repeat that a bunch of times. Okay, I have connected all of the lugs up onto the 95mm squared cable, so they're all ready to go. It's time to connect my batteries, and then yeah, the system should essentially be done. Besides the inverter, the electrician's coming later for the inverter. But what I need to do is connect positive to positive, negative to negative, and then these 2 cables to the system. So let's do that. Okay, so the batteries are connected, so positive to positive, negative to negative, positive coming out of one battery, negative coming out of the other. Then they come through these glands on the side, which are sealed, and then the negative comes down into the 300 amp shunt, and the positive comes into a 400 amp fuse, and they go through to the bus bars, which connects through to the rest of the system. Last but not least in my electrical system is the Renogy ONE Core. This is my battery management system, so this will show me everything that is coming through all aspects of my system. Everything from my battery percentage, how much solar is coming in, how many amps my DC-DC is drawing, and it also has an inbuilt leveler, which will be very handy when it's pulling into campsites. Everything will connect through Bluetooth, so we will be able to see how everything's working, see what it draws, everything like that. So let's set this up and then we will make sure that the power is on and working. So it's searching for all my Renogy devices now to connect them. Alright, so now that everything's connected via Bluetooth, you can see the DC-DC charger here, the single MPPT charger here, and then the battery shunt. On the Renogy ONE Core, now that all of the devices are connected via Bluetooth, I can see that I'm currently at 100% battery. I can see the current coming in and what each of my devices are doing. Obviously, because I have not got anything on right now and I have a full battery, I don't have much current coming in. It is done. My electrical is finished. I'm so excited and so proud of myself for actually being able to get this done. My electrician has just left, so my inverter is working. So all of my power points, my aircon, my cooktop are all working, which is super exciting. I just need to wire in a few switches so that I can turn my lights on, but my max air fan is working above me, which is amazing. So tomorrow I will show you through the system finished. I just need to clean up a little bit of the sawdust and all that sort of stuff that is floating around at the moment. But yeah, it's almost done. I'm so happy to have such a big system in my bus. As I said, with this build, I'm going bigger and better, and I had a Renogy electrical system in my van and it did great. But with the bus, I have really leveled up. So that is super exciting. I'm someone that loves being off-grid and living out in nature. That is why I've chosen to do this lifestyle for 4 years now and will be doing it for so many more. So having this system is going to keep me off-grid for pretty much as long as I want. But let me quickly run you through one last time everything that I have in my Renogy electrical system. So at the back here, I have a 50 amp DC-DC with MPPT charger. This charges my batteries off of my alternator while I'm driving, as well as half of my solar. So 400 watts is going through that charger at the back. If we come forward, my 40 amp MPPT charger, which charges the other 400 watts of solar. The power coming through those two charges up my batteries. So I have two 300 amp hour lithium batteries, giving me 600 amp hours total. These can be connected either in parallel or series. That is totally up to you. Having 600 amp hours means that I can really comfortably run large demand appliances like my induction cooktop or an air conditioner. So that's gonna just mean that I can basically live super comfortably. Coming out of the battery through to here is my battery shunt. So that communicates with the ONE Core at the front on the wall to show exactly how much percentage I have in my batteries. With lithium batteries, they do need to be in a sealed battery box. So I've built a battery box which is going to have a lid put on top here, so that will all be sealed and you won't be able to actually see my batteries. They have been vented through the floor and the cables coming out the side here have been sealed to adhere to the Australian regulations. And then over here, I have my 3000 watt inverter charger. So this is what runs all of those household appliances like my induction cooktop. This needs to be installed by an electrician, so make sure you have your electrician come out to install this and wire it up and do any of the 240 volt work in your vehicle. There is also a shore power inlet on the wall of the bus, so if I am ever running low on battery and I need to have a quick charge, or there is not enough sun and I'm not doing much driving, I can plug in at a caravan park wherever, and that will also charge through to my batteries here. And then on the roof, I have my 800 watts of solar, which keep my system charged while it is sunny out. So yeah, that is my full Renogy system. It is going to be so great to be able to survive off grid pretty much for as long as what I want and have all of the luxuries that I need to live comfortably. In a couple of days, I'm heading off on a 3-week trial trip in the bus. I need to head back up to Queensland to shoot a few weddings. So that's a great opportunity for me to see how this system works while living on the road. I will be doing things like cooking on my induction cooktop. I'm heading up to Queensland, so it's probably going to be a bit warmer than down here. So being able to use my air conditioner is going to be great. So before I close off this video, I will show you how those high demand appliances work and what kind of amps they're drawing on my ONE Core. So you can see how this system works and how I can monitor everything off of the ONE Core battery management system. I've been living in my bus for the past week and I'm super impressed with how well my electrical system is going. It has been so good keeping track of everything on my ONE Core here, and although it has been very rainy since getting back to the Sunshine Coast, between my solar and alternator driving, my battery is still at 100%, and that's been using my induction cooktop. A couple of times on the trip up, I used my aircon. I currently have my Max fan running. I've got some Sirocco fans, obviously lights, my fridge, that sort of stuff, and the whole system is keeping up amazingly. So yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say. I'm about to cook some food. So what I'm going to do is use my induction cooktop, and then I'll be able to show you how many amps that the induction cooktop draws while cooking and how that's all monitored on the ONE Core here. We'll also be able to see how much battery percentage that using the induction cooktop to make a big meal uses. So yeah, let's get to cooking and then I'll show you how much this is drawing. To use my 240 volt appliances, all I need to do is press this button right here and that turns on my inverter. Everything will beep so that I know that it's all on, and then I can get to cooking. I have a switch down here on the side for my cooktop and turn that on and it'll start heating. As soon as I turn that on, you can see the current has gone down. It has also just started raining, so I will be getting no solar right now, but that's a good idea of how much battery and current is actually coming out just using the induction cooktop. So yeah, down here you can see that I'm getting 32 watts into one of my solar chargers, 0 in the other, and then basically 111 amps is getting drawn at the moment. You can also see up the top here that if I was to be running my induction cooktop at this level, my batteries will last for 5 hours. So yeah, that's a really great way to be able to track how much power you are using while cooking. Alright, I have finished cooking. It's probably taken about 20 minutes. So let's see on the ONE Core how much battery that used. It used 5% battery to cook this, so basically fluctuating between about 110 amps to 113 amps. That gives you a bit of an idea of how much power is used when cooking with an induction cooktop for roughly about 20 minutes. So yeah, with a big battery system like what I have, that really doesn't make too much of a difference in your system. I did also have my Max Air fan running while I was cooking and my lights, but they just draw probably like a couple of amps each. It's really not much when it comes to your 12 volt things. Over on the ONE Core, I can see here that now that I am at 95% battery, I have no solar coming in. So with my fridge, lights and Max Air fan running, I still have about 68 hours worth of life in my batteries. That's without obviously going for a drive, running any other extra appliances. So yeah, it's a very solid system, but also something that I know I was super curious about when I was looking at builds, and I didn't include in my first build, but I really wanted to, was an air conditioner. So let me spin you around and we will see how much power my aircon uses while I'm showing you everything else. So up here I have my rooftop air conditioner. I have used it a couple of times while I have been traveling up to the Sunshine Coast, and it hasn't been drawing that much power, especially when I've been parking up during the day, having solar coming in and all that sort of thing. So let's turn it on and we will see how much power it draws. Alright, so that is on. I have it on the third highest fan speed and it's at 20 degrees Celsius. Over on the One Core, we can see that it is drawing 62 amps and I can run this for about 9 hours without any other extra solar coming in. So obviously if I was parked out on a sunny day needing to run the aircon, it would be able to run for a bit longer. But that shows you essentially how much battery you need to be able to comfortably run an aircon off grid. After testing out the Renogy system for the past week, I am so impressed. It has done so well when it comes to running my big appliances like my induction cooktop and my aircon, as well as powering up my fridge, my lights, my fans, and everything like that. Also, I'm loving being able to monitor everything on my One Core. This is such a great way to see how your system's going and gives you the peace of mind when you are using big appliances and it is rainy outside. It really helps me know that I can use my induction cooktop with no problems at all and I have plenty of battery left over. If you're interested in having an epic off-grid system like this, head on over to Caravan RV Camping. They have the Renogy 600 amp hour adventure bundle available on their website. Being able to live off-grid comfortably, honestly, is what made me fall in love with this lifestyle. Being able to park up in beautiful locations and have your whole home there and not have to worry about running out of power is absolutely amazing. I'm super excited to finish off the build and hit the road full time in spring, so make sure to follow along to see the adventures and how this system goes when we are traveling full time. And thanks so much for watching.